Did you know that for many of our clients, their blog actually drives way more traffic than their main website? That means their homepage, their core service pages. In today's video, I want to talk about some clear things that you can do to improve your blogging strategy so that you can use it to drive more website traffic, leads, and sales. Hey, I'm Spencer Powell, the CEO over at Builder Funnel. Our agency has driven more than $150 million in revenue for our clients in terms of remodeling projects and custom homes. This channel, Builder Funnel TV, is where we share the strategies and the tips and the tactics that have worked for us in hopes that they work for you too. So let's dive in and talk about blogging today. So the first thing you need to think about when you're creating your blog strategy and the topics is actually thinking about your target audience. This is a step that gets skipped oftentimes. You start thinking about what could I talk about in terms of remodeling, and so you just start writing down ideas. I could talk about the process, I could talk about the latest design trends, I could talk about countertops and cabinets, and you build out this big long list, and then you just go, well, let's talk about 5 cabinet ideas or something like that. Could be a great topic, but what we want to do is start the framework of this exercise in thinking about your target audience and who they are and actually what they care about. So what are the projects that they're doing? What is their income range? What's the scope of what they're looking to do? What's the end result in terms of what they want it to look like, but what they want it to feel like? And so we really need to get a lot of clarity on who we're targeting before we start to write. Otherwise, you'll just start writing topics at random and you're not going to drive a lot of productive activity. You might even increase your traffic if you just start writing about a bunch of topics. What we want to do is think about it in the context of attracting more of your ideal clients and getting more traffic from those types of people. So we don't want to skip this step. All right, the next piece that goes hand in hand with this is let's do some keyword research. And so we want to think about our ideal client, and then we actually want to go and look at the hard data, and we want to do a ton of research around what are people actually typing into Google. And so at the end of the day, we're going to have a list of kind of traits and things about our target audience over here, and then we're going to have a big long list of keywords, and then we're going to look at how do those overlap. So somebody that's in a high-end neighborhood that's looking to do a whole home renovation, and we're thinking about that as our ideal client, we're going to have a whole list of keywords that are related to areas of town, maybe neighborhoods, but also questions that they're asking are going to be different than questions that somebody that's looking to do a new backsplash in their kitchen is asking. Totally different questions, different frame, and so we need to take both of those and then see where the overlap is in the intersection, and then we'll get a much clearer picture around the direction that our blog topic should go in. The next thing we want to do is think about the journey that our buyer is going to go through. So typically if somebody's going to do a large scale renovation, so a kitchen plus maybe a whole first floor, something like that, that's going to be in the $100,000 to $400,000 range, they're going to go through a journey to get to that point of actually saying, yes, let's do that. And that journey starts with an idea, a dream. Maybe they watched one of these makeover shows. Maybe they walked into a friend's house and they had just done a remodel, and that kind of inspired them to think about what they want to do for their home. Or maybe it's just the pain of what their existing home looks like, feels like. They can't do the things they want to do. It's not set up for their family dynamics. Whatever it is, they're going to start their journey, and then they're going to start dreaming. They're going to have lots of questions. They're going to go to Google. They're going to look at a lot of blogs. They're going to go to social media. They're going to go to Pinterest. They're going to start brainstorming. And so the whole point from where they had that first idea of like, maybe this is something that I could do, to actually deciding to move forward with the project, there's kind of the dreaming phase and the inspiration to the what would this actually look like if I move forward with this, to who could actually help me with this if I do decide to go forward with it, to actually selecting somebody to help them through this project. So as you're thinking about your blog strategy, you want to create content that appeals to that buyer at every single stage of the journey. So when they're in the dreaming phase, it's inspiration, it's project spotlights, it's design ideas, it's layouts, it's those types of things. Then the how am I actually going to make this happen? That's going to be more process related questions, more cost related questions, like how long is this going to take? What are the different steps involved? What do I need to do versus what is the remodeler going to do? How much is this going to cost me? What financing options do I have available if I don't have the cash? All of those types of questions. And then we get to the consideration, which is, okay, who can help me do this? And that's where they're benchmarking, different companies. They're maybe interviewing people. They're learning about process. And so each one of those major stages has very different types of content that is going to appeal to that person. So you want to be able to create blog content at all of those stages, because today there are people in each one of those stages. And so wherever they are, you want to be able to attract them. And especially if you attract them at the beginning, you want to be able to guide them down that path and show them that you can be the guide all the way up till the point of selecting you as the company. All right, so let's talk about internal linking. So this is a more technical step, but as you create blog content, you're going to naturally reference different topics. So let's say you are writing one of those dream type blog posts where you're talking about 6 kitchen design trends for the current year, and you're writing those out. You're naturally going to mention, kitchen remodeling and some of those types of terms. You can link that back to your core service offering page. And so you're going to want to link related content. You will always want to link back to a core service page because we can strengthen that and improve the ranking there, but we also want to link to other related blog posts. Maybe you have another blog on the process of remodeling a kitchen. Maybe you have another one that has different design ideas or layouts. And so what you're doing is you're strengthening all of that content. You're showing Google that you're a very authoritative subject matter expert on that content, but you're also improving the user experience. So you want to have a strategy around connecting related content through your blog. The next thing that you want to make sure you're including is a next step. We call it a call to action, but let's say somebody does read that post about 6 kitchen design trends, and they're scrolling, they're reading, they get to the bottom. Most blogs, there's nothing for them to do. It's just, okay, I read it, and okay, I guess I'll leave. Hopefully, maybe they'll click around the site a little bit more. But if we give them a clear call to action, they're more likely to actually take that action. So we like calls to action that lead to a conversion step. So if they're reading that blog, they get to the bottom. At the bottom, there might be a guide or a checklist, something of extra value. They're going to click on that and say, oh, that looks interesting. And then they're going to have to put in their name and their email, and they'll get the guide, and now we've captured them as a lead. So again, if you go back to that buyer's journey, if somebody is in the dreaming phase, we capture them as a lead. Somebody, hey, I'm kind of interested in this subject. Now we have the ability to stay in touch with them through their journey, which might be 6 months, 12 months, or longer, and then get them to the consideration phase. But if they read that blog and they're in the dreaming phase and they get to the bottom and there's nothing for them to do and they just leave, we're kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that they'll come back in 6 months and that they'll pick us. And so we want to improve and include a lead conversion step in our blogging strategy. The next thing is we actually want to promote that blog. See a lot of remodelers that will actually blog and they'll have a cadence around it 1 or 2 times a month, and they'll publish, but they just hit publish and then that's it. And what we need to do is take that and actually get more people aware of that blog. So the easiest thing you can do is take that blog and share it on social media, and you can drive traffic back to that blog. The other thing you can do is use the email newsletter as a way to direct people to the blog post. So if you think about all the raw leads, your past customers, all of those individuals, they don't know that you just hit publish on a blog. And so what we're going to do is email them, and we're going to include in the newsletter the latest 2 or 3 blogs that you've written and posted. And that way we're saying, hey, just wrote this blog on kitchen design trends, wrote this one on the design build process, and this one on something else, and they get little teasers in the newsletter. They click on it, they get to the blog. Now they're actually consuming that information. We're actually utilizing it versus just, hey, I'm just going to hit publish and fingers crossed, hopefully it ranks, hopefully some people find it. So you want to actively promote each post that you've taken all that time and effort and energy into actually writing and creating, or paying somebody to write and create and then publish. Now we want to get more visibility to it. One of the next things you want to do is track the performance of the content. So this is definitely a gap that I see, and that is, hey, I've been publishing a blog and I've been doing this for a while, but I don't really know if it's working. And one of the best ways to know if it's working is to actually look at how is the blog ranking? Is it ranking for any number of keywords? And then where is it ranking? Is it on page 1? Is it on page 2? How far has it made it? The other thing you can do is you can benchmark across all of your content and say, which of these topics is getting more traction? And then that can dictate future topics. So if all of your design topics are getting a lot of traffic, then you might say, hey, we should focus a lot more of our energy there. Then you might take it a step further and say, gosh, they're getting a lot of traffic, but we don't generate a lot of leads from those topics. But these topics over here do generate leads, so maybe we should spend a little bit more time there. Or, hey, we've got all this traffic from these blogs, but no leads. We should add links to these posts over here so we get a lot of traffic here and then drive them to the posts that actually convert leads. This is how you actually start to make real progress with your blogging strategy, and not just from I got more traffic, but we're actually driving real results, which at the end of the day is real projects, real revenue. And the last one is thinking about character limits. So we'll drop some notes below this video, but you want to make sure that your blog title isn't exceeding the number of character limits that Google has, and so it'll get truncated in a Google search. If you ever do a Google search and you see all the listings, some of them have the ... and they get cut off. We want to make sure that we're working within the confines of that. In terms of blog length, you definitely want to skew towards longer posts. Generally 1,600 words or longer have a better shot at showing up higher in Google search results. If you're in that 800 to 1,000 range, that's a pretty good spot to be, but kind of that 200 to 400 word range doesn't really cut it today. Google's looking for really quality information that addresses a topic pretty holistically and completely, so you tend to need to write longer posts, and those statistically tend to rank higher. If you look at all of the position 1, position 2 for millions of topics, the data says those tend to be longer posts. And I guess to wrap things up, that was a lot, right? There's a lot of different steps that goes into a successful blogging strategy, but I think that shows you where the opportunity is, because most people won't even think about half of these things, right? They're just going to say, I went to a conference, I see that I need to be blogging, so I'm going to start writing blogs, or I'm going to have somebody on my team write blogs, or I'm going to hire a freelancer to just write some topics. But it's a lot more than just deciding to write some blogs. You have to think through, who am I targeting? What's the keyword research behind this? What's my linking strategy? How am I promoting these blogs? How am I getting lead gen activities out of these? And really thinking through it strategically. So hopefully this video kind of gave you a framework around how you can think about your blogging strategy so that this year you can execute at a higher level. All right, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.